Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Defense Updates and News. So let's start today's top major defense news. Astra IR will have reduced range, trials likely in 2022. Can the new fighter plane from France carry India's nuclear weapons? Isro will allow private sector to set up own launchpad at Sriharikota. Army won't take eyes off Ladakh, preps to shop for Siachen like gear for troops. Navy not keen on HL for choppers, want private sector to build alternate capability. Pakistani spy drones spotted in Jammu and Kashmir, Hiranagar sector, search operation launched. Makers to obtain NOC from the Ministry of Defence before telecast of army theme film or web series. A variant of the Astra beyond visual range air-to-air missile under development with a passive imaging IR seeker might be ready for initial trials from 2022 onward. Sources say that the Astra IR with a dual webband passive imaging IR seeker will provide terminal guidance that will be powered by a smokeless solid propellant with higher impulse motor for improved performance at within visual combat at the reduced range. Astra IR minimum and maximum operating ranges likely will be 500 m to 60 km due to seeker track limitation found in IR air-to-air missiles world over. Astra IR will be capable of operating in lock-on before launch and lock-on after launch modes, and IR seeker will allow the missile to autonomously detect, track and lock on the targets. Astra IR can be adapted on all fighter types in IF since it doesn't require deep integration with the aircraft mission computers. Astra IR is an interior medium-range air-to-air missile which has been designed to supplement Astra Mk1 RF till work begins on a much shorter range. Next generation close combat within visual range air-to-air missile to be developed by DRDO for Indian Air Force jets. DRDO has also two separate long-range air-to-air missile programs with known as Astra Mk2 with dual pulse propulsion and Astra Mk3 with air-breathing ramjet propulsion, and NGCCM will be developed post completion of this longer range missiles first as IAF moves to equip most of the fighter jets in its fleets with MBDA's SRAM advanced short-range air-to-air missile close combat. The first 5 of the Indian Air Force new Dassault Rafael fighter jets recently landed in India after a 2-day flight from France. The fighters from Dassault Rafael line were piloted by Indian pilots and will enter service with India's Golden Arrow Squadron. According to Dassault, the pilots underwent extensive training in France along with their ground support. It's not the first time that Dassault has supplied New Delhi with state-of-the-art equipment, with the company has supplied the Indian Air Force for more than 6 decades. Dassault notes that the first Dassault aviation aircraft Tufani was supplied to India in 1953, followed by the Master 4, the naval allies, the Jaguar manufactured under license by HAL, an Indian aerospace firm, and the Mirage 2000. These aircraft have contributed to Indian sovereignty all along. The Mirage 2000 fighter aircraft continues to be the IF cutting edge till date. Dassault advertises the Rafale as an omni-role fighter capable of a variety of missions that include interception, air-to-air combat, close air support, deep and maritime strike capabilities, reconnaissance, and most importantly nuclear deterrence. The Rafale F3 is the primary nuclear aircraft in French service and would presumably provide India with similar capabilities. This most recent order, a total of 36 Rafale, is a part of a 8.7 billion contract that was inked back in September 2016. New Delhi and Paris left the door open for 36 additional Rafale that could be purchased at a later time. The initial airframe batch included both 8 two-seated and 28-seated single-seat Rafale variants. The process of unlocking the space sector, Indian Space Research Organization will allow the private sector to set up their own launch pad at Sriharikota Launch Center. Talking to TOI, Isro Chairman K. Sivan said the space agency has started the process of involving the private sector in space activities. We will allow the private entities to set up their own launch facility at Sriharikota that they can use for launching their spacecraft or rocket. We won't charge anything for such launches. Instead, we will provide them all the expertise they need from us for setting up such facilities. Currently, Isro has 2 launch pads and 2 rocket assembly buildings at Sriharikota. He said that Isro is also ready to share its expertise for free with the private sector in areas where monetary support is not involved, like providing technical support. Department of Space in the process of setting up Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center, which is being set up to promote, handhold, monitor and supervise space activities by the private sector. But we don't want the wait till it is set up. If private entities are interested, they can apply for it using ISRO space assets now itself. Centers of ISRO are either closed or working skeletal staff because of COVID related restriction in different states. We want to start at least the consultation process of involving the private sector in space activities based on their requirement. At least we can get to know about their requirement. Following the recent cabinet decision to open the space sector for all, ISRO will involve non-government private entities in the production of components and subsystems of a launch vehicle integration, production of components of a spacecraft, integration and testing. It will also rope them in for providing space-based services, including operation, control and station keeping of spacecraft by establishing an operation of ground segment or stations. NGPES can also provide help in development of space-based application using satellite data and rolling out of commercial services, says a statement from the agency. Chinese People Liberation Army PLA dragging its feet on restoring the status quo ante along the 1597 km line of actual control in the Ladakh sector. The Indian Army has started preparing for a long winter as it does not want a repeat of April 2020. Next year, top government official confirmed that the Indian Army has asked its defense attaches posted in embassies in the US, Russia and Europe to identify warm clothes and snow tent manufacturers in case there is a need for emergency purchases. After Operation Meghdoot in Siachen in 1984, the Indian Army gets its requirements fulfilled by local manufacturers with regard to igloo, semi-hemispherical domes, down parkas, snow goggles, boots and gloves for troops guarding the height in the western sector. While the Indian Army has matched the Chinese PLA in terms of troop strength and support elements in Ladakh sector, its commanders totally dismissed reports of induction of over 35,000 troops recently. However, the military commanders are clear that they will have to man positions along the LAC in specific areas to prevent any PLA aggression next year. After the PLA aggression, we don't trust the Chinese, fear that they will come back again north of Pangong so as summer arrives in 2021, said a military commander. Although the PLA has disengaged from patrolling point 14 of Galwan Valley and 15-16 hot springs, a smattering of adversary troops are still on forward location at patrolling points 17A Gogra, and withdrawal from all contested finger features is a distant survey at the Pangong Tso. The Navy is not in favor of an offer by HAL for upcoming Rs 21,000 crore Make in India contract, as its chopper does not meet requirements and there is a dire need to establish alternative capability in the private sector to manufacture modern aircraft. Sources said that the naval version of the advanced light helicopter that is being offered does not meet basic qualitative requirements and is unstable for the role required, including urgent search and rescue mission at sea. As reported by ET, the naval utility helicopter plane originally planned for the private sector under the strategic partnership model is going through tussle after it entered the fray and has requested the government to be included. The LH has a rigid rotor head and has been designed for a high altitude operation where it is very good. Problem is that the design limits it in terms of the blade holding capability in missions such as SAR. Every minute is precious and the LH just takes too much time to be deployed, a source said. While the Navy is already operating the ALH in a utility role, it requires 111 helicopters for deployment on board ships to carry out multiple roles, including surveillance and ferrying supplies. The requirement is urgent and a specialized chopper is needed that can be quickly deployed and retrieved and can be stored in the space constrained hangar on board all vessels. The process to acquire the choppers is already in advanced stages, with 4 Indian companies shortly can partner with a foreign technology provider to make the helicopters domestically. However, the final selection is stuck after HAL put in a presentation in the original tender document. It was specified that only private sector companies are eligible to take part in the contest. Also said there is a need to have capacity in the private sector to manufacturing modern aircraft. The NEU's program will be enable the identified winner technology and skill. Besides the Navy requirement, the winning company will have a large domestic civilian market to tap besides a robust export potential. The patrolling party of BSF 19th Battalion, which was doing its routine patrolling in the area along the border, spotted a Pakistani drone flying along the line of control near Srinagar sector in Jammu and Kashmir. According to these reports, the BSF personnel noticed the drone at around 10:30 p.m. on Friday near a border post, after which a search operation was launched in the area. Earlier in June, BSF personnel shot down a Pakistani drone along the international border in Jammu and Kashmir, foiling an attempt of Pakistani agencies to drop weapons and arms across the borders. According to reports, the drone was shot down in the forward post in Rathua village in Hiranagar Taluka in the Kathua district. The patrol party of BSF from 19th Battalion had spotted the Pakistani drone flying at the Rathua area of Hiranagar sector and fired 8 rounds on it, thus shooting it down. The team recovered one M4 US-made rifle, 2 magazines, 60 rounds of bullets and 7 grenades. Officials believe that in order to boost the strength of Jaish-e-Mohammed terror outfit in Kashmir, Pakistani terror agencies smuggle arms from across the border via such drones. Several such attempts of Pakistani agencies to smuggle arms weapons from across the border through the drone have been foiled by forces in the past. Ministry of Defence has formally written to the Central Board of Film Certification (CBFC) and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology and Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to advise production house to obtain no objection certificate (NOC) from the Ministry of Defence before the telecast of any film, documentary, web series on army theme in public domain. This has been done to curtail the incidents which distort the image of defence forces and hurt the sentiments of defence personnel and veterans. The Defence Ministry had received some complaints raising strong rejection about portrayal of Indian Army personnel and military uniform in an insulting manner in some of the web series like Code M on Z5 and X Uncensored Season 2 on ALT Balaji. And these scenes related to the army are far from reality and present a distorted image of the armed forces. Some concerned citizen and ex-servicemen association have been lodged FIR against ALT Balaji seeking legal action. So that's all for now. If you have any kind of suggestion related to this video, please comment below and please support me and please keep like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.